What up, rough leaders? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're walking on the seawall. See behind me? That's the seawall. And this is the new mangrove forest is growing up here off of the coast. That's the Atlantic Ocean. And that's looking east. That's the direction in which I'm headed. Only because at this point the sun is rising. It's about 6 a.m. You see behind me, that is the movie town. You can see the Ferris wheel in the background. So I'm actually gonna use this video, perhaps for 10 minutes, to explain to you my business philosophy while I'm on this morning run. I usually run about 10 miles every morning, and kind of took a break for Christmas and getting back into it now. So I'm actually building a bunch of companies, and I promise to explain my business philosophy and why I choose to build companies, billion-dollar companies here in Guyana. So let me start by telling you a little story. I'm getting down off the seawall now. So I went to university in New York, did my PhD in medicine, at the School of Medicine in New York, on Long Island actually. Stony Brook University, for those of you who are familiar with the SUNY system. Shout out to all Stony Brook graduates. Great time to be at Stony Brook was in the 90s. So I did my PhD in physiology and biophysics from the School of Medicine. And the whole goal was in fact to study MRI. So I became a MRI physicist. And then I went to work for a hospital, and then I went to do some research in Singapore. But I came back to Guyana to start some companies. And I'm going to tell you about one of those companies, and I'm going to give you the reason why. So, the reason why I'm here in Guyana to start companies and my business philosophy. So let me start by telling you the story. So while I was in graduate school, I actually had a teaching assistantship, research assistantship, and so on to cover the cost, but didn't really cover the full cost of studying. I did like 7 years of PhD courses in work and research, and before that I did like two master's degrees. So I did physics, master's degree in physics, and then I did rotations in a bunch of programs, including computer science, electrical engineering, material science and engineering, and so on. So eventually I ended up doing a PhD in biophysics. But while I was there, my salary, that is what they paid, was about $22,000 a year, and it was not enough to live in New York. So there are other things that I did. I actually worked for campus housing at one point. And while I worked for campus housing, I was a building coordinator for one of the apartment complexes that housed graduate students. You're required to arrange programs, activities throughout the year for the students. So it's not just that you're managing the building, but you're coordinating activities like ski trips and excursions to the city. I arranged both trips, like Circle Line cruises on the Hudson River and so on. So one of the things that I loved to do was to take these students on excursions. And I would arrange, for example, a ski trip in the winter to Ski Wyndham, which is upstate New York. So we were on Long Island, Stony Brook, and I would drive the campus bus. I think it was like a 15-seater from New York all the way up near Albany, spend a day out on the mountain, and then return the students by the end of the day, right? So we'd probably leave like 6 a.m. in the morning and come back by 6 p.m. So that was a typical day trip. We would go all over, but I remember arranging ski trips. So one of the things that stood out is that on these ski trips, when you show up with a bunch of students from, various countries, India, China, these are graduate students who are studying in the US, who are living in the student housing. When you show up at, say, Hunter Mountain or Ski Windham, would definitely stand out, because the people who are skiers, people who go for ski trips regularly every winter, would have the ski gear, right? They'd be decked out in the most fashionable, current fashion for ski boots and ski jackets and clothing and so on. So with the gloves and the skis and the poles and so on. So we would show up, a motley crew, just staying warm in the New York winter and renting our ski equipment from the ski lodge. So we stood out. I'm saying that to say that I have decided to start a company called Lisa Air, or Les Air, that combines